wish you could scrapbook more this year, even if you are short on time. If you're a busy creative like me, you're going to love today's video. I'm creating a simple and fast scrapbook layout that you can put together in minutes. I'll share one simple trick that will help you create faster. It's kind of like a cheat, but in a good way. And as with everything I share here on the channel, you can do it with the supplies that you already have. So let's get started. I'll be working with Crate Paper's Gingham Garden collection today, and I'll also feature this month's cut of the month, which is this heart design right here, and I'll be working with a square photo for this page. This one is an exclusive design for members, and I'll leave details about the subscription in the description box below. Today's layout came together super quickly, and one of the main reasons for that was this cut file. I always find that a bold, bright, happy cut file helps pull the page together, and it does take a lot of the guesswork out of designing the page, and that's always a big time saver. But that's not the simple trick that I want to share with you today. I will get to that in a moment. First up, I want to talk about the layout design and what I'm going for here. So I have cut the cut file out quite large because I wanted it to be a background element for this page. And the plan is to try and keep the left-hand side of the cut file quite open and showing the details of the hearts there. And then to fill in the right-hand side with my larger embellishments and photo. So you can see already how the cut file's helping me make choices about the design of the page. For me, even the photo placement was predetermined by the cut file. I just felt that it felt very anchored when I positioned it down the bottom of the page, and I do actually like how my daughter's looking out towards the layout edge, which is actually a little bit different for me. Normally, I prefer the subjects of my photos looking in towards the center of the layout, but I think it works here because she is quite centered on the page. That's why I say there are no scrapbook police, there are no rules, even self-imposed ones. So from time to time, rules that I follow for most layouts don't work, and I get to switch things up. In some ways, you could say that the cut file actually limits choices. There are only so many positions that the photo could be in, and I do have to work within the limits of the cut file design. Which leads me to my cheat, my secret to speeding up your creative process, and I think you might be surprised by how simple it is. You may think you need lots of supplies to speed up the creative process. You may think you need the perfect shade of cardstock to match your photo, and the perfect embellishments to put your page together. But what I've found is the opposite to be true. I personally find that pages come together so much faster when I have limits in place. In fact, the cut file was the first thing that limited my choices. With this design of the cut file, there were limited numbers of places I could pop my photo. The next thing I limited was my supplies. There's a very good reason why I often create just with one collection. I definitely have the skills to be able to mix and match collections and elements to create a page, but I choose not to. And that's because I like to limit my choices. It's interesting too, because you might think by limiting your choices, you are limiting your creativity. But I actually think the opposite's true of that as well. I feel that I have a freer mind and I'm more able to be creative with the supplies that I have when I'm not overwhelmed by choice. So back to the layout, and here is a really good example of what I mean. I am doing a sweep through the collection of ephemera that I have to work with, and I'm actually making really fast choices here and excluding items. In fact, I exclude more things than I choose to include. This is where you can save yourself a lot of time, because if you're working with 5 packets of ephemera because you would like lots of choice, you have 5 packets that you have to go through. I'm only working with 1 here, so I only have 1 to go through. So any of the pieces that I'm not sure about, they will stay on the table there, and any that I have 100% excluded go back into the bowls. So as I'm working here and I'm filling out the page with the details, I am just focused on those pieces that are on the table on the right there. So as I'm working here, I am looking at grouping the elements together. I do want what I like to call flowing clusters. They flow together. So rather than having 3 focal points that are quite separate from each other on a layout, I do like the clusters to be more free-flowing and to have this smoothness about them. I am also thinking about how the eye will travel across the page. I feel in this layout the eye will be drawn very quickly to the photo. There is a depth of colour in the picture that's just not in the supplies that I'm using. These supplies are very muted and soft. The eye will also very naturally want to read text, which is why I've added that slightly to the left of the photo. I know that my eye is going to travel across that text and then down to the photo. I do talk a lot about this on the channel, and in a nutshell, you want to go with what the natural flow will be. So you want to follow what's going to happen naturally and not try and fight against it. This not only applies to the layout itself, but also within your embellishment clusters. Actually, while I mention embellishment clusters, I have done a full series on how I create them, how I layer them, and how I build them for projects. I will be sure to link the details of that in the description box below. So while we've been chatting about all of that, I have been auditioning all of the pieces in all of the places, which is yet another reason why limiting your choices is going to speed up that creative process. I am the kind of creative who wants to audition all of the things. If I have 100 pieces sitting on my right, I'm going to want to audition all of them. Things are getting serious because I'm gluing stuff down. Yes, up until this point, everything is really just placed on top there. I like to have the freedom to change my mind, but once everything is in position and looking really good, I'll then just do a sweep and glue everything down all at once. And that's the layout done. Of course, I want to leave you here with lots of close-up images so you can see the texture of the chipboard pieces, the layers of paper in the cut file, and of course those very cute little wooden button elements. Let me know in the comments below if you have ever tried limiting your supplies. That might be in the way of a scrap kit or just creating with a single collection. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you're looking for even more ways to scrapbook faster, you won't want to miss this video. I share my favorite 9 tips and tricks to help you do just that, so be sure to watch it next. I'll see you all again very soon. Until then, bye!